The Dreadful Captain, a narration from Peter and Wendy based on Peter and Wendy by J.M. Barrie, first published in 1911. The lagoon of Neverland shimmered under the tropical sun, its crystal-clear waters reflecting the towering palms and exotic flowers that lined its shores. Peter Pan floated lazily above the water, teaching the darling children the finer points of swimming through eras if it were the most natural thing in the world. Wendy, John, and Michael laughed with pure delight as they practiced their aerial maneuvers, spinning and diving with newfound confidence, their joy echoing across the peaceful waters where mermaids basked on distant rocks. It was in this moment of carefree happiness that they would first encounter the most feared name in all of Neverland, Captain James Hook. Peter suddenly stiffened in midair, his playful demeanor vanishing as his keen eyes spotted the dreaded shipping cord in the deeper waters. "Hook," he whispered, and even speaking the name seemed to cast a shadow over the bright afternoon. The boy's face transformed from carefree mischief to something harder, more dangerous, revealing glimpses of the formidable adversary who had earned the pirate captain's eternal hatred. The Jolly Roger lay at anchor, like a dark stain upon the lagoon's beauty, her black sails furled and her skull and crossbones flag hanging ominously in the still air. From their vantage point in the sky, the children could see the elaborate figure pacing the quarterdeck, Captain James Hook himself. Captain Hook cut a figure both magnificent and terrible as he paced the quarterdeck. He was a man of striking appearance, dressed in elaborate finery, a coat of rich blue velvet with silver buttons that caught the sunlight, and a tricorn hat bearing a dancing plume. But where his right hand should have been, a gleaming iron hook protruded from his sleeve, a cruel reminder of his greatest humiliation. The captain's voice was cultured and refined, yet beneath that civilized veneer lurked calculated malice. This was sophistication that made him all the more dangerous, a mind that had chosen evil not from ignorance, but from deliberate cruelty. Peter watched his nemesis with the intensity of a hawk observing its prey. The boy understood Hook's nature perhaps better than anyone, the captain's sophisticated cruelty, his obsession with revenge, and most importantly, his fear. For all his menacing presence, Hook lived in terror of two things: the crocodile that had tasted his flesh, and the boy who had fed it to him. "He's not so terrible," Peter whispered to Wendy, though his grip on his dagger had unconsciously tightened. "He's just a codfish who's afraid of a clock." Yet even as he spoke these dismissive words, there was something in Peter's voice that suggested he understood the true danger Hook represented, not just to himself, but to anyone who dared to stand between the captain and his revenge. As Hook paced his deck, his hook clicked against the ship's rail, creating a metallic rhythm that his crew had learned to fear. The crew of the Jolly Roger watched their captain with wary attention. Rough cutthroats who recognized that their captain occupied a realm of evil beyond their own understanding. From his position on the ship, Hook's sharp eyes constantly scanned the waters and shoreline, and it was only a matter of time before he spotted the flying figures above. When their gazes finally met across the lagoon, it was as if lightning had struck the peaceful afternoon. Peter's youthful defiance met Hook's cold fury in a moment of recognition that seemed to electrify the very air between them. The children watched in fascination and growing alarm as they witnessed this silent exchange between eternal enemies. In that instant, they began to understand that their adventure in Neverland was not merely a game of make-believe, but something far more serious and dangerous than they had ever imagined.